Hello, we're Geeks Assembled, and today we're talking about one of my favorite science fiction uh, franchises, the Stargate franchise. I'm a fan. I love the Stargate. Uh, it started with SG-1. Then there was this one, which was Stargate Atlantis, and this is the the episode Rising. Glad you guys are here. I'm glad we're going to be able to discuss this. This is a thrill ride for me from start to finish. Um, it's got all of the main cast of Atlantis, and it's got some other wonderful character actors and some of the SG-1 characters that were even the ones that were all the way from excuse me, all the way from the movie to where we are right now. This is the first episode of Stargate Atlantis. It is the first two episodes of Stargate Atlantis. It is not the first three episodes, but it is the first two episodes. It's a two-parter. It's about an hour and a half long, and it's pretty amazing and intense and thrilling. And so without further ado, I'd like to ask some of these fellas' opinion on the subject. So, because because he watched it with me, I'd like to find out what Alex thought of Stargate Atlantis Rising, and go for it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the series. I know it has some good actors. I know they're trying hard. Um, but yeah, I don't usually like military-based stuff. I can see the humor. I know they try to put it in. This one didn't have so much humor in it. There's some good actors. There are. You've got one of the DeLuises who was in the series, another American family, acting family. You've got Teal, not in this series though, I don't think.
No.
The African American guy, he's a good actor, and he's a little bit of Spock and what's his name, Worf, as well in a way, but not exactly. I know Richard Dean Anderson is a good actor, the guy from MacGyver, the original MacGyver, not the new version. He was great to meet at a convention. Um, so they do have some good acting. I just not too fond of the story, not too fond of the fact that in a way they did sort of rip it off from Doctor Who with the Pyramid of Mars. But that's the other irony. Doctor Who actually had more ideas first shown on television that it wasn't able to take credit for. Um, it's not a bad story in a way, but I just didn't really like it. I have to admit the villain was actually pretty good and disgusting in a way too, sucking the life, the years out of you. Just like we reviewed in the other story, where the time monster is sort of taking your life away. Um, so it has some good points, it really does, but I'm just not a huge fan of the show. I do like Teal'c, I do like Richard Dean Anderson, I do like the British woman that I guess is what, I don't know what season she's in,
9 and 10
9 and 10.
of Stargate SG-1.
Yeah, that's she will. And I'll have to give it credit because it was one of the few American shows that did very well on cable, did very well in syndication, even though they messed up the order of the episodes, so that doesn't help. And it was a franchise that was around for 10 years without it being officially canceled or put on hiatus or whatever. Now I think it is, unfortunately. But I can say I'm not a fan of the show because I don't understand why the military would be involved, and I don't understand why they would go through the Stargate, and I want to understand how they get all the power to do that. But I'll have to admit that's hypocritical of me because I like watching shows about time machines. So, there you go. There's sort of another paradox, if you will. But like I said, considering that this was the 90s and you had what? You had Xena and Hercules, which were also silly in many respects. And you had Buffy and you had Charmed. And also, I guess if you didn't want any of those shows, this series or this franchise gave you a little bit more room. And I have to admit, the women are stronger characters and they don't rely on their sexuality as much as the other shows did, like Xena and Charmed and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I will give it credit for that. I feel I have to, but yeah, as a whole, unless it was free or unless I really wanted to watch it, I wouldn't watch it now. In the 90s, I did watch more of it
You will watch
because
it.
they're behave because of that, but I'm not a fan like Susan is. Yeah, I don't see why anybody would really be a fan of it. I think it would be more relegated to watching it if you were bored or if you only like one or two actors. I just don't understand where they get the money for the Stargate. I don't understand the reason why they would keep doing it, and I understand I'm being hypocritical because I like Time Machine, and I did like a lot of Quantum Leap, even though I thought that series kind of disappointed after a while.
Okay, well, I just need somebody else's opinion on this, please. Brian, please give me your opinion on the Stargate Atlantis Rising.
Well, with Stargate Atlantis, I honestly thought that, judging by me seeing this for the first time with any Stargate, because I haven't seen any of the Stargate TV series or even the movies at all. So watching this two-parter is honestly my first watching of any Stargate. So that being said, I honestly thought that with part one, it seemed a bit slow and not really that interesting as the second part. When it hit part from when I was watching and when I got into part two, it really felt like it really felt like an actually different TV series than part one did. But because there's a lot of different things within part two. There was the aliens, there was action, there was a whole mishap crisis that they had to take care of. But 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 all that aside, I mean it. Honestly, it does, I mean, all that aside, but it does actually look like a pretty good series to at least continue and watching and check out. I mean, who knows? I might even go back all the way to like all the other Stargates and the movies. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, overall, I actually love this. Well, I don't love it, but I do think it's a good show, and I like it, and I will probably start watching it from from this one and also the others. So, I mean, it's probably like it's like Star Trek, I guess. Like they have multiple series, but I think I'm definitely gonna be taking a wolf watch.
Cool, thanks. And Lee, what's your opinion on Stargate Atlantis Rising? Have you ever seen Stargate Atlantis?
I've never seen Stargate Atlantis. As you well know, that I we did a review of Stargate, the TV series, a few months back. That was the first time I've seen this series, and I wasn't keen on it. Um, just didn't grab me. Um, so I'm assuming this Stargate Atlantis is the spin-off, the first spin-off from the original series. Yeah.
Correct.
Um, I agree with what Brian says. The first episode, it was just meh. As soon as the second episode came along, the continuation of the first episode, it's a hell of a lot better. Soon as is it the was it the Wraith? The Wraith.
Yeah, the Wraith.
The Wraith appeared. The Marilyn Manson lookalike appeared. It got my interest. I thought, wow, that is a better episode than the beginning of it. I wasn't too keen on two of the characters appearing at the beginning of the first episode from Stargate. I can't remember the names now. Oh, who is it? Who is it now? Hold on. Susan's got a thing for Michael. What's his
Are you
name?
talking
Susan?
about Dr. Daniel Jackson?
Yeah, Michael. What's his name? Susan?
Michael Shanks?
Oh yeah, that's it. Michael Shank and the other one. I wasn't too keen on them appearing. They didn't have much to do in that first sort of 10 minutes of the episode. I liked the crew. I liked the gang of Stargate Atlantis. I did. I thought, and also having. I'm no good with names. Is it the major of the corporal? Whatever his name is from Terminator. What's his name?
Oh, Robert Patrick?
That's it. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
The
sorry,
Colonel.
sorry, Lee. I was actually about. That's one of the things I was going to ask later on. I wasn't sure if that was the guy from Terminator 2.
Yeah, that was the Terminator.
It was. It was definitely him. And yeah, I could see. I thought, well, I mean, this is the first time I've seen Atlantis one, and I thought, because I didn't know who dies, who lives on. I thought, is he going to be in the rest of the series? And I thought, he's not. He's not going to be. He's either going to be turned out to be the bad guy, or he's going to die early on. And I was right, really, wasn't I? What a way to go, though. Yeah, for me personally, I enjoyed the second part of Rising better than the first because what Brian said, it was a bit slow going. I don't know why. Because if you're starting a new series, you want to grab the audience from the first episode, don't you?
Yeah.
And for me, I thought, no, it's just not doing it. The second episode, it was boom, right in your face. I thought, wow, this should have been the first episode. Yeah. It's enjoyable. I'm not. I was to say I've only seen a few Stargate episodes, so this one, this one was more enjoyable than I saw in the original Stargate, what we reviewed a few months ago. So,
All right. Well, my opinion on this is that it's a thrill ride. It starts off with what turns out to be Major Shepard. He's flying the helicopter that General Jack O'Neill is in with, and they're flying over Antarctica, and when Paul McGillian's character, Dr. Beckett, he gets in the ancient chair and he sets off of a drone. One of the things that took down the entire Goa'uld fleet in Stargate SG-1. Those little squirrely things were the weapons of the ancients, and they completely decimated all of Apophis's and Baal's ships, actually. So I mean, it's an effective weapon, and so when they're being chased by that was pretty fun. The reason it's military, to answer the question, that was not posed, but it needs to be answered, is because the U.S. Air Force owns the Stargate. They have possession of the Stargate, so that's why it's military, and that's why all the characters surrounding it will have, um, you know, there will always be some sort of military personnel involved. And that dichotomy actually forms the the relational matrix inside of the third series, Stargate Universe, starring Robert Carlyle. Um, that that's hard. It's actually a hard edge between military and civilians, and they break into camps, and that's hard for that. That's hard to maintain a ship that's way out in space. This is right. It starts on Earth. It starts. Um, there is a character from SG-1 who was discovered. She's actually an ancient person, so she was there talking with her brother or husband or somebody like that and they were discussing, and so she ends up staying put on Earth as the ship Atlantis, the city ship Atlantis, takes off and leaves Earth. So they had to get off Earth, and so they use the Stargate, and so everybody goes back to Cheyenne Mountain, and they all go back into the iconic Stargate room, and take off through that Stargate to with the um, with the gate address that once again Daniel Jackson came up with. He came up with the first gate address to Abydos in the movie. He uses it, and then he comes up with the second gate address back to Earth in the movie and in the TV show. And then, he comes up with this third gate address with the eighth symbol, which means that they're going further. So actually, the more of the Stargate that you use, the more power it takes, the further you go. And so this one, they start off with these things like ZPMs, ZPMs in there. They looked for them, and the whole first series of Stargate Atlantis saw them looking for these because it's how they power Atlantis and it's how they power the gate back to Earth. Anyway, so there's that thing, and so it's pretty interesting. So they had to set these things up. They had to set up the Jeopardy. They meet their first bad guy right off the bat. The second episode, they've already met their main enemy throughout the whole 5-year run of Atlantis. And Atlantis was 5 years. SG-1 was 10 years, and Stargate Universe is 2 years. So their total story arc is 17 years of story.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, and but it's not like Doctor Who fantastic, but it's pretty fantastic anyway. I agree that they do a lot. They do borrow a lot of stuff from sources. I mean, the guy who plays Rodney McKay, the doctor who was such a jerk in SG-1. He just wanted to smack him, hit him in the head, bury him in a hole. That guy becomes, he has a huge, long character arc, like 10 years worth of character arc, where he finally ends up being a really cool guy in Atlantis.
Yeah, but Susan, a lot of TV series borrows from any sci-fi fantasy shows or movies. So I'm okay with that. Originality these days is dead. It is. You've got to take something what's already been there and give it your own twist.
Yep.
And for me personally, watching these episodes, I enjoyed these episodes more than I did watching that episode from Stargate Atlantis.
You mean Stargate SG-1 that we watched earlier?
Yeah, Stargate SG-1. For me, I felt more for the characters in this one.
Yeah, I can see that because you're starting off with it. what's
Yeah.
cool is that they actually had really good writing in this, and they showed you that these characters are worth your affection. That Shepard was a good guy. That Dr. Weir, the leader of the expedition, was actually a really thoughtful person. She
So
was also a foil, a baddie, a bad guy in the first series. And the other thing that's really cool is that they added an alien, Taylor Emigan, who is played by what's her name? Something Luttrell. Anyway, she is like she has such a like they just showed you that these people you're gonna want to invest your heart in them, and
mm,
so that's important too.
yeah, for me, as I said, I enjoyed this two-parter. I felt more for the characters. I got more involved in the characters from the characters before, and I thought, yeah, I could get into this series. Um, and you don't have to really watch. I'm guessing you don't have to really watch Stargate SG-1. You don't have to watch Stargate Universe. You could just delve into Stargate Atlantis and go from
Right
there.
there.
Oh, cool. That's cool because I may watch further episodes of this series.
Cool. Um, yeah. So there's a. I mean, it captures you, and there's actually like they set up everything that they're gonna do. That they're gonna all the searches, all of the. I mean, they had to. What was cool is that this Atlantis starts off at the bottom of the sea in this huge water planet. So it was. I mean, like that was a pretty cool effect. Is like when the force field was failing and the spaceship city was uh, was running out of air and running out of time, and all of the ocean was going to come in on top of them. They the force field fell, and it just rose right up, and I thought that was like amazing too. So favorite moments, that rising moment has to be one of my favorite moments in this show. Also, uh, yeah. So, just what are your favorite moments? And go, Lee.
Well, as I say, I wasn't so enamored with the first episode, but as soon as I said the second episode started and the aliens, the Wraith appeared, and I keep saying, the Marilyn Manson lookalikes, which they were, the main one. Uh, that's that segment of what must have lasted 15 minutes with I've forgotten the actor's name now, um, where she was aging him
The
and
the Terminator,
yeah,
Robert
that
Patrick.
yeah, that's it.
Second Terminator.
Yeah, that was such a good segment of that episode. He would not give her the information she wanted. We will make you give it to us and all like that. And then all of a sudden the other character just think the only way I'm going to end this is by killing the guy. It was the only way out, and I thought that segment of that scene just awesome again. It was a brilliant played out scene. But I mean, you could see in the guy's face who was taking aim. He was going to shoot the alien, but then he decided, no, I've got to kill my buddy here. um, yeah, that that for me was just a great scene. Not often seen in TV series. I've got to dispense with a character what people may have started to like, and all of a sudden gone. Yeah, that for me made it for me. And said the alien, the way they played the aliens was brilliant. They wanted a feeding ground, and then they discovered what's Earth. Oh, we've never been so fulfilled before. Let's go to Earth and not that. Yeah, whoa. Hold on a minute. Whoa. That for me was the best thing in that. Yeah, brilliant. I will most probably when I get time catch up on. Is it 5 seasons for Atlantis?
Yep.
I will. I mostly will catch up on Atlantis.
Cool.
Mm.
Over to you, Brian.
Oh, Letty? um,
Favorite moments, please.
okay. Well, for me, I think favorite moments would probably have to be. I don't think I really have anything for favorite moments for part one because, again, it's a little bit slow. I mean, it's still a good episode, but again, it's like with a bit slow and everything. So I think most of my favorite moments is within part two. I think my first favorite moment is probably from when the probably like at the beginning of the episode of when the waves uh the waves ships are down at the planet and this whole big battle, and it's like a big battlefield in a sense that's going on, and like everybody's like running for their lives and most people are being taken. I thought that to me I I felt like that was a pretty damn good, cool scene, and like good visual and special effects and everything. So I and like a lot of impact and action and along with it as well. So I think that was like a cool scene, and I pretty much also like the scene when from when you actually the first time you get to actually see the Leafs, like when everybody's in the prison, and because you don't really know what to expect of what the Leafs look like, and like and how evil and threatened they are, and when you actually do see them, they're damn threatened, and they look intimidating as hell, and it just looks that it looks really really good. I mean the aliens, the aliens, like the waves, they kind of look like something. It kind of reminded me like of a little bit from oh, what's it called? Sci-Fi. It kind of reminded me something like from Sci-Fi. Um,
The
cause
Reavers.
yeah, the Weaver, yes, because because that those characters within Firefly, even though they're different species and they um act completely different, but they like their look and everything, and they to me they kind because to me it felt like a little bit similar. Um, and I would guess my third and final favorite scene would have to be the I'm gonna have to go back what Lee said, like the death of the general or whatever, like the Terminator guy, because it that's like what Lee said. It's a, like what a way to go, and it's like a very brutal, very death of way to go. It's like he's the head wave alien. She slowly ages him to death, and I haven't even seen anything like that since an episode of Roswell, the TV series. Because there's an episode in that really reminded me of what happened in that scene. Um, and the makeup and special effects in that were just pretty good. I really enjoy the plot, the scene and the death is not so enjoyable, but like the visual effects of how he slowly ages and dies is just incredible. So I think those are my favorite scenes within Stargate Atlantis. And again, they're pretty much from part two, but those are my favorite scenes.
Thanks, Brian. And Alex, do you have any favorites or scenes or
Mm,
stuff that you're not fond of?
like I said, I already said, what I was fond of. It's basically four characters. I think there's only one of them in this restarted franchise. And like I said, I'll give credit that, for 1994 to go on for 10 or 11 years, and they're doing a web series now. But like I said, except for a few characters, and with the exception of strong woman characters also, because the competition back then was all the other ones that I had mentioned. Basically, Josh Whedon and the Xena Hercules stuff.
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, basically, that was really the only other competition, unless you're going to watch British TV shows. So I'll give her credit for that, but it just doesn't appeal. I know that Susan is a huge fan, and it's not a terrible show, but it just it's not a lot that just appeals to me. I'm sorry to say. Uh, so the moments were, yeah, I can also agree. The pacing for the first episode, yeah, kind of slow. Um, you do have a setup; it's just very slow. The second episode, better. I did get a little tired with, oh, we have to get away from here and all that. I even said while I was watching it, they couldn't have sent in a robot or a smaller team to investigate it before. I did appreciate that they said they didn't have a lot of power for the gate and stuff, and the
Yep, they're
villains
all
were
looking
good,
for GPMs.
but yeah, it didn't. Like I said, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me too much. So except for Richard Dean Anderson, one of the DeLuises, the what's her name? The woman in the franchise, basically. What's her name? The one with the very short hair.
Oh,
Um,
Samantha Carter,
right, Samantha
Amanda
Carter.
Tapping,
Yeah, and then the brunette with the British accent. Uh,
Claudia Black,
yeah, Claudia Black. Otherwise, like Antique, Teal, whatever.
Christopher Judge.
Yeah, Christopher Judge. Other than that, I can leave it. But like I said, I also see that it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot more lazy. I do like the episodes where they're making fun of themselves. I do like the episodes where they're making fun of TV in general, but that's not the one we're discussing here. But like I said, it's not bad. It just doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather be watching something else.
All right, well, I'll be sure to watch all of them in front of you then.
I know. I'm
All
gonna be leaving. See ya. I'm gonna be
right,
leaving. Oh, now he's loving it. What do you like in this Discord here, huh?
it's just a good show.
Uh-uh.
All right, well, I have so much more to say about it. Um, you know, they're but they did set it up, and they did hire some awesome actors who the guy Heyerdahl is in this, and he played the father of Jinto or whatever, and they were that was a those were good characters, and Robert Patrick, of course, and how he got famous and Terminator 2. So I mean, there's lots of people who are like in super other things. This is the series that really made David Hewlett's career, and he's another cutie. And and Ronan Dex is a character that comes later on, who is played by Jason Momoa, who is Aquaman and Khaleesi in Game of Thrones, and so he shows up second season, and so or later on in first season, but anyway, so they do form a really cool sort of core group with Paul McGillen, David Hewlett, Tori Higginson or Higginson, um, Tori, um, oh man. Anyway, Tori and of course Colonel Shepard, John Shepard, played by um, played by oh boy, once again, um, Joe Flanagan, and they had some really awesome core characters, and they worked a lot on the stories. The stories all have to do with fighting these wraiths, trying to find more power for their city, and you know learning about this whole other galaxy. The Milky Way. They've seen a lot in Stargate SG-1. They say that they had explored like uh, what was it, 14% of the Milky Way galaxy, which is a huge, immense, mind-boggling thing. And now they found a whole nother galaxy. So that, I mean, in terms of the astronomy, even that's really freaking awesome, to use Lee's word. Anyway, my opinion is that it's great, and I'm glad you guys watched it with me. And I just would like to know your final say and score. If you don't have anything, and if you have something else to talk about first, let me know, and we can open up the floor here.
Well, so we're going to final say and score then.
Yeah, go for it.
Enjoyed it way better than SG-1. Only one episode I've seen, of course, so I can't really judge on one episode I've seen, but I've seen 2 episodes of Atlantis, and I liked it. I wasn't too. I don't know. I was not too. What's me saying? With SG-1, with my rating and my review of that episode, I was a bad boy, shall we say. I wasn't keen on that episode. This one, as I said, I enjoyed it so much better. It sort of drew me in more. It's a pity that I really did get into this series when it was being broadcast. Because we are talking now, what is it now? 10 years since it stopped? Should we say 10 years?
Yeah, it's about
8 to 10.
20 years. It's a 20-year.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, this episode, 2-part episode, yeah, it worked for me. There was something what grabbed me, which didn't do in the SG-1 episode. So for that reason, I'm going to give this, because I know what I scored SG-1 episode, and I'm not going to do that. I'm torn. I'm torn between a half a point here. Do I do the half a point, Susan, or do I go the full point? Come on, tell me.
No, you do your thing.
No. I'm giving it an 8.
Okay.
would have been a 7.5, but I've gone for the full 8.
You rounded up. Very well thought
Yeah,
up.
okay.
That's quite brilliant of you. Okay, and Brian?
Well, for my score, I think I'm gonna give it a. I think I'm gonna probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Cool. Thank you. And Alex, what are you gonna?
Yeah, like I said, sorry that Susan doesn't like my opinion. I've already mentioned what I like about the show. I already mentioned what I don't like about the show. I'm gonna give this one probably. I'll probably give it a 7 only because it's a new series. But again, I'm not really watching it, so there's only a few characters that I like, not necessarily in this one, and it just doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather be watching something else. Sorry.
Okay. But you gave it a 7, and that's okay. That's what Brian gave it. So you guys agreed. Well, I'm gonna give it a 10. I'll give it a 10. 10 Stargate addresses out of 10. I'll give it 10 ZPMs out of 10. I'll give it 10 chevrons out of 10.
Is there anything about the Stargate universe that you don't like? Is there any episode that you go, "Ooh, I didn't like that," or it was wrong, or anything, or do you just like the whole idea of it? You just like it.
There's some stuff that I don't like, but
Okay, well, how about a balance? What don't you like?
no, I don't remember exactly.
Oh, she doesn't remember all of a sudden. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how about the original movie then? Because the original movie has had a lot of criticism.
Okay, the original movie we talked about. I love the original movie, but I'm you know
the TV show did do it better actually.
What I like about science fiction is when they start off in the like the ancient world, and they show stuff from ancient world, and then they bring it to the present, and they bring it all the way into the outer space. So I'm gonna love Picard. You just know
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What?
I'm gonna love Picard. I love it.
That brings up another point that's kind of interesting. Go ahead.
I love it when it follows that form, and a lot of Atlantis doesn't follow that form, but there's some stuff in in all of the series that is just kind of like ho hum, but it's hard for me to remember what it is because all over I love the thing so much.
Okay. Well,
So,
unfortunately, except for the animated web series, they've stopped it. There was a couple of episodes of Star Trek that were very similar to the Stargate universe in a way.
Yes.
Like I said, Star Trek had half of the show already, kind of, in a few episodes. Doctor Who had the idea of it and the Egyptian stuff, and Pyramid of Mars. So in a way, it was already done. It's not a bad series. It really isn't. It just doesn't appeal to me. But like I said, the movie was criticized a lot. But it is good that they were able to rewrite it and produce it again and stuff like that. And it has been around for 10 or 11 years, in a way. So you have plenty of episodes and series to see if you really want to. But like I said, except for the animated web series now, it looks like it's kind of stalled a little bit.
Oh, perish the thought. Anyway, so yeah, so with that, I'd just like to say that you should always know your gate address. You should always pack your gun. You should always get the get the go ahead, and you should always be exploring. And I love that this show, because of the Stargate, you can go anywhere. I mean, you can do anything with it because you can go anywhere. And it does have a great group of cast members, and I mean, all of the brilliant ones are cute. So, you gotta love it like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our podcast. I know that there's a couple Stargate specific podcasts like Get Into the Gate and Through the Gate and Gatecast, but we are not them. We are Geeks Assembled, and we would encourage you to join us because we like talking about these things. If you're 18 over 18 and you have a webcam and you have a microphone or you have something that can pick up your voice anyway, just get in touch with Lee.
Yeah, but also I encourage people to watch other podcasts as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
Yes,
was sharing the other Stargate podcast. There you go.
We are a big family.
Yeah, and so watch the Stargate podcast. Watch Stargate SG-1. Watch the movie. Watch Stargate Universe. But also watch Atlantis, and you will be thrilled if you watch the beginning episodes rising. It is a thrill, and it is fun. And thanks you fellas for joining me, and thanks Lee for letting me host today because I got to talk about Atlantis a lot. And thus ends our Atlantis weekend. We hope that you've enjoyed our foray into the ancient world of Atlantis and the modern its modern location in the Pegasus Galaxy. Please, you will obey me when you go and you watch all these fun things. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.